Welcome to the Homeschool Lounge. Children who struggle to read not only find it difficult to learn, especially where the subject is content heavy, but they often have low self-esteem and struggle to concentrate. But the good news is, reading difficulties can be addressed and help is available. My guest is Brand van Dijk. He is co-founder of the Smartbrain Child Development Institute that started in 1996. He is passionate about reading and writing intervention and has done much research in the field of early childhood development, dyslexia, and learning skills. Brand, you are a firm believer in a solid phonic foundation for reading. Why is that?
Arnel, just to answer your question in detail, phonics is the basis of understanding any language. It is the sole reason why learners become proficient readers. It is also the reason why other children are not proficient and why they battle at school, purely because they don't understand phonetics. If you allow me, I would like to give you some technical information based on scientific evidence why phonetics plays such an important role in a child's understanding and grasp of a language, especially when it comes to reading and writing. Anel, you must have seen those spelling programs on TV. What stands out is that each contestant sounds out the words in order to spell it correctly. That's phonetics in action. Phonics is literally the building blocks of reading and writing a language. I have been privileged to be a language teacher for many years, and I've got first-hand experience of top achievers and children who are struggling in class. Those children who are top achievers have mastered the art of phonetics at a young age, and it's the main cause why they are bright and excellent at school. Phonics help the learner to quickly connect the letters on the page to the sounds we hear every day.
I know that dyslexia is associated with reading difficulties, but what is dyslexia? And can someone with dyslexia become a proficient reader?
70% of all our students have dyslexic problems. And I was amazed when I discovered, while working with grade R children, that all these grade R's are basically dyslexic. Now, what is this dyslexia? It's basically word blindness. They are adding sounds to letters that is not supposed to be there, or they leave out sounds that's supposed to be there. They reverse letters like the B and the D, or the W and the V. But to know that it is something that's natural in a grade R student. Now, why do we have dyslexia? It all starts in a grade R class, where grade R children have to write their names, which they normally copy from a white board, from a piece of paper, or from a blackboard. They were not explicitly taught how to form letters or how to sound out those letters, but they must still write their names. And all these children start forming these letters in a wrong way. Just for an example, the O gets formed in the wrong direction. Why? Because they were never taught to form these letters in the correct way from the word go. The sounding out of letters, as well as the writing of these letters, should be one subject in grade R. There's not enough repetition, nor is it done over a long enough period of time to solidify these actions in the brain. And by doing the wrong action at that vital initial period of their life, they actually program the brain dyslexic. In other words, it's not something you are born with. It's through repetition that you program the wrong action on the brain. If they were taught in the correct way at a grade R or a grade 1 level, they would never have been dyslexic at all. So yeah, we solve dyslexic problems by reprogramming the child's brain. So if you reverse letters, we can change that for you by reprogramming the brain in the correct way. It takes a lot of repetition over quite a long period of time, but it can be done. And we have seen the success of this with our online program daily.
It's quite interesting to hear that actually all children start out as being dyslexic. So is it important then for parents to read to their children so that they become used to the sound of their language, the phonics of the written word?
Reading is vital. There's a scientist, Tony Buzan, who wrote a book. He said that if fields are not plowed, empty stomachs is the result. If books are not read, empty heads will be the result. Now, it's so important for parents to read to their children so that they can get used to the sounds of a language, but that is not enough. Reading alone will not teach a child the phonemes and the basic blocks that builds up a language. Now, phonics or phonetics is the building blocks of a language. No matter how much a parent has read to a child, they still need to master these individual building blocks. And that is something which needs to be taught. You are not born with that skill. You need to be taught that skill. And parents need to understand that the only way to get a child to be a proficient reader is by teaching them these building blocks individually, explicitly, and intense and frequently, because that alone will help a child to read at such a level that they can really understand what they are reading.
Now, we've touched on the building blocks. Is there a golden age at which a child should learn to read? Some parents have children who are early readers. Others say their child's not interested in reading until they're the age of 9 or 10. So is there a golden age? Is it ever too early, ever too late?
Now that is where our scientific studies have come in handy to give some advice to our parents out there. You know, there's a golden opportunity between the ages of birth and 4 years when a child can master basically anything. We start by training parents. We train the mother because she's the anchor of our child's intelligence. She's the most important factor in a child's future intelligence. And she needs to be trained. So we train mothers with babies or toddlers in how to program the brain. One must understand that the brain is like a huge computer with a massive hard drive. It can basically do anything. But you as a mother needs to know how to load the programs on that hard drive. If you do not load a drawing program, the child will be unable to draw. If you do not program a music program on the brain, the child will never be able to do music. If you do not teach reading or writing or maths at that vital age, the child will struggle later on in his life. There's a scientist who wrote a book. The book's name is Your Child Can Be a Genius. And in that book, the writer said that everything after the age of 6 is remedial. So if you start after the age of 6 with maths, you basically only spend time remediating the problem. But if you start between birth and 4, you are actually giving so much to that child to their advantage, and they will be brighter than you can ever imagine. So first of all, we help parents with babies and toddlers. But secondly, we teach grade R children phonetics. We've got a lot of schools in Cape Town, right throughout South Africa, that's making use of our foundational grade R reading and maths program. Now, parents must understand that is where everything starts. Normally at the age of 5 and 6 is the best time to start phonics. But that is to prevent reading problems from ever happening. So starting young will prevent your child from having a reading problem. But then we've got also a remedial program. So if your child's got a problem, he might be in grade 4, grade 5, grade 6 with a reading problem, then we must assess that child. I want to find out where did that child miss out in that child's reading program, because there's vital phonetic blocks. There's 44 sounds which a child has to master. And those sounds have to be mastered before the age or before the child goes to grade 4, because in grade 4, they start writing exams. So those building blocks, those phonetic sounds have to be mastered in grade 1 to 3. So I can, through our assessment, exactly pinpoint the sound that the child hasn't mastered yet. And it's wonderful if parents enroll for this assessment. They sit in and they can actually see for themselves what sounds the child hasn't mastered. But yes, the best time to start is at grade R level or even earlier. But then we can also solve reading problems by finding out where the problem is and then solve it from that point onwards.
It is a process that you need to buy into and you need to persist. That's not an overnight cure. So I just wanted to ask you as well, when should a parent be concerned about her child's reading ability?
And now that's very important, because a reading problem never goes away. You have to find a solution, which is basically a remedial intervention program. When you find out that your child does not like reading, reverse letters in words, or purely do not well with subject-related or with content-related subjects like history and geography, where you have to read a lot, then you must seek help, because somewhere along the line they have missed out on these phonetic building blocks. Do not hesitate to find an answer or a cure for your child's problem, because it is not going away. It will be a problem even later on in their lives. You have to find a cure immediately. Any hesitance with reading, any adding letters to words that's not supposed to be there, that is normally the sign that your child needs intervention. So please, from our side, it's one of the main reasons why children fail at school and why they don't perform. It has all to do even with the economic collapse of a country. The social disorder has all to do with a lack of reading. And that's all related again to a lack of phonetic foundation building blocks.
Brand, my last question. Is there a relationship between a child's skill at reading and her ability to concentrate?
Yeah, there is definitely, Anel. You see, if your child don't read, they do not build a strong foundation, word foundation. They do not have enough vocabulary. Now, to understand the value of vocabulary, one must put yourself in a situation. Say, for instance, you sit amongst a group of people that use technical language. The moment you haven't got that word power in your brain, you're not part of that conversation. You look the people in the eyes, but you think about something else because you haven't got the word power. Now, reading is exactly the same. The moment you read past words that you are not familiar with, you lose all concentration in that reading material. I've had the other day a student that I was teaching history, and I could see the child has got no clue what he is reading, because he's got no picture in his brain where Europe is, for instance, or where one of those European countries are. And it's purely because that part of the brain has never been programmed or exposed to enough reading material. Now, vocabulary is singly the most important factor in the raising of a human intelligence. If I want to make you clever, I just have to increase your vocabulary. Even the guy who wrote the dictionary, his name is Webster, he wrote the Webster's dictionary. He says the only difference between a normal student and a genius is plus minus 2,000 words. So if I literally want to make you a genius, I have to teach you a lot of words. And there's a lot of scientific evidence that I can give to prove this point. But yes, reading expands your vocabulary, and the vocabulary expands your concentration and understanding. So you've got a problem if you do not read enough, because you will not understand what you are reading, and you will not be a good student without a good vocabulary.
We watched a TV program last night, and it was about this lady walking into the IT department and asking the guy to explain something to her. And he started talking, and you just see this white noise, when the TV screen is not in tune. And it's like, yeah, no, not hearing anything, not understanding.
You kind of feel vulnerable if you are in a conversation that you do not understand the language. There's a whole emotional thing that comes upon you. You feel out, you feel inadequate, and it causes a lot of emotional problems purely because you haven't got a good vocabulary.
Brant, very briefly, can you just tell us about the services that the Smartbrain Child Development Institute offers and how they can assist parents?
Yes, on our Smartbrain offers a wide range of services. First of all, we train mothers with babies or toddlers. We help those mothers to understand the power of their child's incredible brain potential, how to program the brain, the frequency and the duration that's necessary to program the brain of a preschool child. Secondly, parents with great art children enroll their children with us especially now with our online facilities, and we train the child in a phonetic way. Those phonemes like abacada, they need to know those sounds, and we teach them to write those sounds. It's a wonderful one-on-one program, and the child actually grows day by day. Thirdly, we've got a remedial program for children at school or adults. I think my oldest student is about 68 years old. There is no age limit to this program. So whether you're a child, whether you're an adult with a reading problem, feel free to contact us. We will surely help you overcoming that problem. And lastly, we also offer a wonderful study program where we teach children how to memorize, how to summarize work, how to find the basic keywords in a paragraph. But to be a good student, you have to be a good reader. So before I take you on a study course, I always test your reading ability first, because all study fails if you can't read properly and if you haven't got a good vocabulary. So those two subjects remain the foundation for any success. But we can assess your child, we can find out where the problem is, and we can solve it. We've got about 40 branches countrywide that actually is ready right now to assist your child with any reading-related problem.
Brant, thank you very much for spending your time with us and for the valuable input you've given.